A suspected arsonist accused of setting a pair of fires in North County appears in court.
A new tariff on lumber will increase the price of construction projects. I've got more on how the price will be passed on to consumers coming up.
I'm telling you, none of you are listening to any of those residents, and it pisses me off.
Heated public comment as the San Diego City Council considers possibly repealing the city's ADU program.
Caltrans is out here cleaning up that massive homeless encampment we told you about last week. Details in a Working For You update.
Something built in San Diego is now on the moon. We'll tell you how this happened from liftoff to landing.
Left for dead behind a dumpster, the two cat lovers who dropped everything and then $12,000 to rescue Oreo.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts right now. We begin tonight with the first court appearance of a man from Madera who's accused of starting 2 brush fires in the North County in January. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
And I'm Steve Price. In tonight for Carlo Chiquetta, Ruben Vasquez pleaded not guilty to felony arson counts. And as CBS 8's David Goffredson reports, the 48-year-old is accused of setting the Paula fire and the Lilac fire, which together burned 100 acres and damaged homes.
The 2 fires were set in the height of fire season when winds were peaking.
The public defender representing Ruben Vasquez argued he should be released without bail. The 48-year-old is a resident of Madero, California, just north of Fresno. He's accused of driving down to San Diego's North County and starting the Paula fire and the Lilac fire.
Mr. Vasquez does have family in San Diego with whom he can stay. He has been working for the last 8 months in San Diego County as a Lyft driver, and I would note he has no criminal history.
The judge ordered us not to show Vasquez's face in court. The prosecutor argued Vasquez is a danger to the community, telling the judge a witness saw him pull over and start the Paula fire just after midnight on January 21st. And then a different witness allegedly saw him start the Lilac fire about 25 minutes later.
In that case, a different reporting party saw a vehicle parked close to the fire and thought it was suspicious, followed the vehicle and ended up providing a license plate to law enforcement.
The prosecutor did not reveal exactly what was used to start the fires, but he said after starting the fires, Vasquez crossed the border into Mexico and he was arrested when he crossed back into the United States. He faces more than 12 years in prison if convicted of the 2 felony counts of arson and an additional allegation that he damaged multiple structures.
Both of those fires were investigated by CAL FIRE and determined to be arson. The Paula fire burned approximately 16.8 acres, and the Lilac fire burned approximately 80 acres to include parts of 2 structures, including 1 residence.
The judge set bail at $500,000. Vasquez is expected to be back in court next week. At the Vista Courthouse, David Goffredson, CBS 8.
David, thanks for the update there. The San Diego City Council has been hearing hours of public comment and is still in the middle of its meeting as it considers repealing the city's ADU program, which lets property owners build apartments in their backyards. Many want to see changes, specifically with the bonus ADU program, which allows someone to build several units on one lot.
Fight has been going on for 4 years. There is no reason why I should be here. You should have already taken care of it, and it pisses me off.
Most of the people who spoke today say, you know, we're fine with 1 or 2 units in the backyard, but it's these large complexes, some call ADUs on steroids, that have them so upset. People in support of ADUs also spoke today, saying now is not the time to scale back on housing.
Certainly room for improvements with the program. The urgency of our housing crisis demands that we continue to produce as much housing as we possibly can.
The council was looking at exploring steps to repeal the ADU program, but the council did repeal something called Footnote 7, which made it easier for bonus ADUs to be built in communities in southeast San Diego. Tariffs are now in effect on imported goods from both Mexico and Canada, along with China.
All 3 countries immediately responded with retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. CBS 8's Alex Cheney joins us live now with how they will impact product prices for you. Good evening, Alex.
Yeah, good evening. So one of the big things about these tariffs is that it's going to be affecting lumber from Canada, which is a big source of that valuable resource into the United States. It's going to make construction projects, just like the one behind me here, even more expensive. Also, analysts are concerned that these new tariffs could begin a trade war.
Today is the first full day of a newly imposed 25% tariff on all imports from Mexico and Canada, and a doubling of the tariff on China to 20%. The tariffs will affect Canadian goods such as lumber, maple syrup, and beef, and a blanket tariff of 25% on all steel and aluminum imports. This is an especially critical time for lumber in Southern California, as the rebuilding process is set to begin from devastating wildfires at the start of the year.
Increased pricing for reconstruction due to the increased price of lumber, but a lot of people don't realize that there's also aluminum that's used throughout the construction process, so it is a bit of a double whammy.
He says that while the tariffs are put on a country, it's consumers that will end up paying the price.
So unfortunately, consumers are going to ultimately be left holding the bag on this one, and we're going to have to dig a little bit deep into our pocketbooks and wallets to be able to withstand this tariff war.
A spokesperson for BidOnEquipment.com, an auction website that specializes in industrial equipment, says they conducted a survey of 1,000 customers in January and found 76% feel even the threat of tariffs will increase prices.
Now we have people really feeling true fear for their finances, for their economic well-being going forward in the future.
Also, 12% of respondents said they have already started to stockpile goods before the price goes up due to tariffs.
A big priority for Americans is trying to stock up on groceries. They really want to start to buy American-made clothing as well.
Especially with aluminum, that touches so many different things, like things you get at the grocery store, cars. So that's going to just add on even more of a price with that extra tariff to inflation that's already happening, making it a continued struggle for consumers. Reporting live, I'm Alex Cheney, CBS 8.
Alex, thanks. And for a more in-depth look at just how tariffs work and how they could impact your wallet, head to our free streaming channel, CBS 8 Plus, for an explainer. You can download it right on your TV through Roku, Fire TV, and your Apple TV, and watch all of our content for free.
Tonight, we are learning that an arrest has been made after a deadly shooting at a Mission Valley hotel last night. Happened around 8:30 at the Handlery. San Diego police arrived and found two people hurt. One was taken to the hospital. The other died at the scene. No other information was given about the victims. We are still waiting to hear from police to see if the person arrested is the suspected gunman. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Right now, Chula Vista police are debating whether to put more officers on the streets.
CBS 8 spoke with Chula Vista Police Chief Roxana Kennedy. She says they have the lowest number of police officers per capita here in San Diego County, even though Chula Vista is the second largest city. Right now, there are about 280 officers on staff, but they serve a population of 280,000 people. Sandag says the regional average is 1.3 officers per 1,000 residents. To reach that ratio, Chula Vista Police would need to grow their department by 22%.
Policing is expensive. Public safety is very expensive. And, that's the challenge that we face.
Chief Kennedy says Chula Vista has seen a lot of growth in Otay Ranch and the eastern areas of the city, and they need more support. Tonight, we have a follow-up on a story we've been working for you on relating a homeless campment in Chula Vista. We first brought you this story last week. People who live and work in the area say they've had to deal with vandalism, excessive trash, threats of violence, and stolen water and power.
But today, Caltrans came in and cleaned out that area, and even those living there agree the encampment had gotten out of control. Piles of trash, needles, lighters, food containers cleared out of the homeless encampment we first told you about last week.
It's a safety issue. It's a sanitation issue.
That was Tony Schwartz last Tuesday, the same day we shot this drone video of a patch of land between I-5 and Bay Boulevard just south of H Street in Chula Vista that was clogged with camping supplies, property that's controlled by Caltrans. Working for You, CBS 8 reached out to Caltrans about the situation, and exactly 1 week later, their crews were out here cleaning out the encampment. The people living here were warned Sunday that this was going to happen and needed to leave or face a fine for trespassing.
There was just garbage everywhere. Couldn't really maneuver, and it was just overwhelming.
This man, who asked not to be identified, has been living here on and off for years and understands why people who work and live around the area are frustrated, not only with trash, but people stealing electricity and water. But he's disappointed Caltrans kicked them out without providing any resources.
I have no idea. Like, I'm just stuck. I don't know whether to go left, right, up, or down. I really don't know.
She died of a fentanyl overdose 6 months ago.
Sylvia Irigoyen's daughter Liz died out here.
I miss her a lot.
She says she tried to get her help, but a lack of resources made it impossible. So she understands the struggles those living here are going through.
And I know these people need to get help, but at the same time, they got to be respectful of everybody else around them.
We caught up with Tony again today, who was pleased to see the cleanup effort, which he hopes will end the vandalism and excessive littering his business has had to deal with. Problems he says many have complained about for years, but got nowhere until CBS 8 stepped in to help.
I appreciate being able to talk with you, Steve, and everybody here, and hopefully you guys can keep doing the work that needs to be done.
And we will keep doing that work. Remember, if there's something you'd like us to look into, email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com.
That's really incredible, the transformation and the quick action.
Yeah, it was great that they finally got those crews out there. I mean, those folks have been trying for years to get something done. They just felt it was an issue of safety and so,
yeah. All right, great. A travel alert if you're planning on taking the coaster anytime this month. That's still ahead.
Plus, the decision from the Los Angeles City Council is the city's former fire chief appeals her firing.
And we hear from a local company about how they play a role in last weekend's historic lunar landing mission.
Today we had lots of sunshine in the forecast, but we are looking at rain chances ramping up by tomorrow, especially into the evening hours. We'll get to all those details coming up after the break.